morning, sweet friend. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Maylin Call from Mrs. Call's Campers, and you're watching Disney Channel. Just kidding. If you are new here, I am a kindergarten and first grade teacher this year. I'm a combo teacher, and I've taught first grade and I've taught kindergarten. So now we're doing it together. Today is Monday, which means it is Cookie Butter Monday. I will forever keep putting that awkward little cheers in the video because it makes me so happy to see the boomerangs you tagged me in on Instagram. So forever and always, I am going to do that. I also have not had a sip of my coffee yet, so it's so good. Unfortunately, I left Friday not being planned for this week. However, last night, I spent 4 hours, maybe more than 4 hours planning for this week, but mostly for the month. I was just trying to wrap my brain around what we were going to be doing, and we have field trips and we have minimum days, and I'm going to be out one day, and I was just trying to figure out the best way to do things. I was looking at all the read alouds I wanted to do. I was looking at all of our curriculum. I was looking at so many things, and also trying to weave in all of the fun Halloween activities, which I'm not fully done yet. I was up till 11:30, 12, something, I don't know. I am glad I did it. Being planned for the month is something that just gives you so much peace, and a month like October is, for me, I feel like the perfect time to start because it's so theme-y anyway. Anyways, let's do a little morning montage because I have to get busy. Also, I picked up some stuff from Walmart. I talked about the wax warmer that I got in my last vlog that I love because it has a timer and all of that. I picked up some vanilla cookie crunch wax warmer set. It's not in there now, but obviously it's not, but it smells so good. I also picked up some pumpkins. I don't know why. I figured like math manipulatives or something. A parent donated these stickers. She donated a ton, and they're like these puffy stickers, like they're not like just flat. Thought these would be great to mix in with bigger stickers because we're starting sticker stories in our writing center. Anyways, I got a bunch of stickers. I got some photos developed. One of my Class Dojo coupons is take a selfie, and we'll take a selfie together, and I'll print it for them and send it home with them. So got a cute little selfie. Okay, let's get busy. First thing I'm going to do is fill out my aide dashboard. I have this in our Google Drive if you click the link in the description box. And I am so lucky this year to have an aide, and so this just makes my job and her job a little bit easier. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill out what we're doing for the week, what I want her to do, and anything that I have that she could prep if she has time. Okay, do you think I'm going to play Folklore or Evermore? Take your guess. Take your guess. That's my man. Trying to do better about my water intake. It is Monday after school, and I'm feeling pretty good. It was a minimum day, which I knew this morning, and then somewhere along the course of the day, I totally forgot that it was minimum day. So I'm sitting here in reading groups, and then I realized, oh wait, we're going home in like 25 minutes. So we didn't have free choice at the end of the day, honestly, because I totally forgot. So what we did instead was we had a freeze dance party, and I played one of my favorite people. I've shared him on here before, but it is Blake Rules. We listened to a couple of different songs. We did I Love My Mom. Listened to Puppies.
Puppies, 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 puppies.
And we listened to The Best Pizza I Ever Had.
Best pizza that I ever had in my life.
So anyways, we did freeze dance with that, and it was so funny because when it came on, some of them immediately started dancing, and some of them were like, Miss Call, what is this? But I feel like sometimes when they're unsure, you just really have to sell yourself. And so I was over there dancing with them, and eventually just about every kid in the classroom was dancing, and it's so fun. And like the songs are so repetitive, and they love them so much. So that was fun. It might be helpful if I show you first post my plans and kind of talk to you about that. A lot of times I like to plan in my vlog with you, but I haven't done that lately because I've been planning like super late at night. So let me just show you what I've got. Also, I need to talk less because editing these vlogs is like 4 hours long. Okay, I hope you can see this pretty well. These are my plans for this week. I haven't fully filled out first grade subtraction. I guess I can do that. Hold on. Okay, here are my completed plans for the week. So up at the top, by the way, this is a planner that I have in my Etsy shop. Up at the top, I have the days because I don't like them to be on the actual, like, I don't like them to be here. I like them to be up there. Sight words for first grade. We are starting sight words in kinder just because we know all these letters now, and I really want them to, again, link the sounds with the words. So we're going super slow with our sight words. I think our curriculum already had us learn like maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. These are some L blends because we're working on L blends in first grade. Monday, we had counseling this morning. For literacy for first grade, we mapped sight words. So here's the little sight word sheet. This is in the description box in our Google Drive. So we had be, come, good, and pull. And with come, it has a question mark because when a vowel isn't sure what to say, it says and then good, we learned a new secret. We already knew oh can say ooh, but now we know it can also say, like in the word hook or good, it can say that sound. So I have a little hook there, and then we have pull. So we did L blends, and I'll show you how I introduced L blends in just a second. We did a shared reading from our Wonders curriculum. That's all we did for first grade. And then for kindergarten, we did our mystery letter, our anchor chart, handwriting, sound sort, and I Spy game, and then small groups, and then we went home. So this is what it's going to be for the rest of the week. I know this is kind of like annoying to see the little lines on there. Maybe if I move you closer. Our read aloud this week is going to be Stumpkin. So each day for Stumpkin, we're going to work on a different standard for literacy, and then we are going to make one of our little anchor charts that you can see back there, hopefully. And then for first grade, we are starting Writer's Workshop. So I'm just going to do like a little sight word review every single day. And then for Writer's Workshop, I think I'm going to introduce it in a book, but I haven't thought about what book yet because I want it to be non-realistic fiction. So we're going to be working on non-realistic fiction this week. So we're going to talk about what is non-realistic fiction and using our imagination. Tomorrow we'll start mapping our story, and then we'll start writing our story for the rest of the week. And then for kindergarten, I'm switching it up. Normally I'll do like O, and then we'll also review O, and then we'll do C, and we'll review C, and then we'll review O and C. But I want to start Writer's Workshop in kinder now too. And you guys know with a combo class, it's hard with such a limited schedule, so I have to use the same block of time. So we did O today, and they work on O in their centers, and we're going to do C tomorrow. Let's do C and P. Okay, I accidentally erased the G, but it's fine. And then on Wednesday, we're going to move into our Writer's Workshop. So I'm going to do just like a short little review for the beginning time, and then I'm going to use a wordless picture book, and I haven't decided which one. Last year, I launched it with A Ball for Daisy, but because we're starting with, again, non-realistic fiction, I want to find a good one for that, and I have a ton of wordless picture books, and I'll talk more about why I'm choosing to do non-realistic fiction first in just a second. So we're going to be doing that all week. I'm going to make Thursday's lesson modeling how to think about your story, how to draw your story, and how to read your story, even though we're not using words yet. I'm literally just having them draw a beginning, middle, and end of their story and practice that storytelling. And then we'll do review on Friday. And my idea for this, because I have such a limited time for Writer's Workshop, is for my small group time, which is right across here. I'm going to, on Thursday, turn my small group time into like a mini Writer's Workshop. That's that. And then for math, super simple, just number sense, and then corresponding a group to a number so they know like this many is 7, and they'll write it, and then continue comparing numbers. That's what we're doing all week long. And then for first grade, we are starting subtraction, and I put hands-on just because I'm not going to be working out of the workbooks this week. I might send them home as extra practice, maybe not, I don't know, but it's just all going to be totally hands-on. So those are my plans. I'm going to take my hair down. There we go. I did print a bunch of stuff for their center folders and for centers. So in the writing center, every week I'm going to change out what their directed drawing option is. So it's an option for kinders just to draw the owl and then label it. And then for first graders, it's the same thing, but there's writing lines where they write about the owl. So this student drew the cutest owl, and she wrote, "I see the owl." I'm actually really impressed that she wrote that by herself. I did want to talk to you guys on here. I was chatting with one of my friends last night on Instagram. AJ, if you're watching, hello. And we were just saying how like our first graders are either below the curriculum or they are far above it. None of our first graders are really right on track with where the curriculum is. and that's been such a struggle. And for me, I teach a combo class anyway, but it's just been surprising to have to spend so much extra time on certain skills. So anyway, the owl is an option for writing. The other option that I added, I think I talked to you about it this morning, is a sticker story. And this week I'm just letting my first graders draw a picture. Next week they'll have to write a sentence with it, but for now we're just exploring sticker stories. I'm okay with it, because usually by the time they get to this point in their writing center, they've done so much already. So but this little girl told me her story. I don't remember what it was, but I know these little blobs are very scary, spooky things, and I feel like everyone is just in the Halloween season right now. So those are new things I added to centers. For kindergarten, their center work, it revolves around the letter that we learned. So today we learned O. The first thing that kinders will be working on is this handwriting page, and this is in the Terra West alphabet curriculum. I was using other handwriting pages before, but I like this one because the whole thing is tracing, whereas before it was tracing and then they kind of wrote it on their own. But I like that this one also emphasizes where to start, so I'm just preferring this one. I might switch back and forth. Anyways, they do tracing the letter O, finding the letter O. They're not all color copies, by the way. And then finding the pictures that start with the ah sound. So pretty successful with this. And then they'll have C to work on as well, because that's the letter we're learning tomorrow. Like I mentioned, first graders, we're doing blends. I'll show you really quickly how I did that. By the way, if you did not see last week's vlog, I showed you my entire daily PowerPoint and what it looked like. It changes a little bit, obviously, because I teach different things week to week. But if you are interested in seeing my daily slides and how I teach them, check out last week's video. This week's PowerPoint, we did sight words from Wonders. I just screenshotted this, and then I put up these 3 words and I said, what do you notice about these words? And they caught on that they all have L's. And then I told them about blends. We did the secret story for blends, and anytime they learn a new secret, they just get so excited. And we talked about how the sounds are smushed together, and so we practiced sounding it out. So first the blend, then the rhyme, which is the end of the word. So full, app, flap. And then on my teacher whiteboard, we practiced the blends first. So just off the top of my head, we have goal. So we practiced the blends first. So goal, full, coal, and soul. And then I added a vowel. So we did the A. So we did gla, fla, cla, slap. So then we put it all together. Glad, flap, clap, slap. And I feel like building it that way really helps, because my kids, especially just looking at a word, it's still really overwhelming to them. They still are not seeing CVC words and being able to read them automatically. So kind of just introducing it letter by letter is really helpful. So we're going to continue working on L blends this week. We did our shared reading. Again, I screenshotted this from Wonders. And like I said, tomorrow I'll be writing. So for their center work, because we are doing L blends, I have the L blends pack from Miss Giraffe. That's who I get all of my first grade center work from. I differentiate it for all of my students, but they're all working on the same skill. I don't want to lose this girl's papers. An example of something they're doing in word work is they look at the picture clam and they have to find the blend coal and glue it there. So this would be clam, plug, sled, flag, and floss. And then another option for word work, this one's an easier version of it because they literally just have to fill in the vowel. So flag, sled, club. I don't have a copy of it right here, but the more challenging version is they have to write the blend instead of the rhyme. One of the simpler ones is just tracing the word and writing the word. A level up from here would be they have to write the blend right here. So these 2 letters are missing. It just says ugh in the right pull, ugh in the right plug. Also have sentence writing with the blend. So they trace it and then they write it. Yeah, I actually have 2 examples. So here's an example of this, and here is an example of this. And this to me is really important because it lets them work on capital letter, finger spaces, punctuation, all of those things, which this is the first time that this student actually remembered to put punctuation on every single sentence. So big win, very excited, and actually worked really hard today in the center. Super proud of her. My area at the end of the day is always a mess. I never understand how teachers at the end of the day have perfect desks right when the kids leave. I'm like, everything is a mess. Like, look. It's a mess. So these are just extra copies, and what I've been doing with my extra copies, this is so funny because last year I got this file organizer from Target, this one, and the idea was that I would be a month ahead and I could just put all my copies in here. Well, guess what? That did not happen. So instead I use it to store my extra copies. So whatever day I have extra copies, I just put it in this file folder, and that way if I need to make a new one, I can just go and grab the day. And that honestly is a way better system for me. So today is the 4th, so I'm gonna slip that in here extra papers from today. And then at the end of the month, if I don't need them, we can recycle them or use them for a cutting project. What else did I want to show you? I do have an aide. I mention it all the time, and it's really helpful, especially in a combo class, because while I am teaching first grade, she will be working with kindergarten and vice versa. So with kindergarten this week, I'm losing things right in front of me. Also, am I focused? Who knows? This week we are going to be doing counting crafts. These are from Primary Scout. So for day one, I'm just slipping this little sheet in a dry sleeve protector for her, and she will have students go through and put manipulatives on the pictures. So all the trees will get a manipulative. They'll count the manipulatives and write it in there. And this is just practicing. Eventually it turns into this really cute craft, and I will show you that when that happens, but I feel like I'm talking too much. And last thing, where did they go? Last thing I wanted to talk to you about, if you watched my vlogs last year, you have heard me praise iWords before, but the sight words that I use are iWords, and I do have an affiliate link for you in the description box if you are interested. But I love them, and like I mentioned, we are starting sight words in kindergarten. I waited because it's just not, in my opinion, it's not really developmentally appropriate to teach sight words right as they're learning the letters. Like, it's just not, and it's not really that effective. I've learned a bunch of letters at this point, and we've learned all of the letters that are in these sight words, and so it felt right to start introducing them. Plus, some of my kids, I think, are ready for them. So we did is last week, because every time we do our anchor charts for the letter, I always write it up there, so they're being exposed to it. I don't know if you can see, but they're being exposed to it every time that we do that anchor chart. So we did is last week. iWords is really cool because it pulls in all of the different learning styles. So it gives you a visual. So it's got little mittens and it's cold. It gives you a phrase. So the phrase would be, it is cold, and it gives you a movement. So for movement, we just hug our body because it's so cold. We say it is cold. So all of that helps it lock into your brain. Is was last week, and this week we have two. We have I, and then we have can. This is our new one, and what I do with my students, oh my gosh, I talk so much. I'm so sorry. The basic way that I'm introducing sight words in kindergarten is we look at the word, I tell them can, they say can, C-A-N, can, and then we do soda can to help them remember it. When they're in small group with me, I'll have them help me spell it, C-A-N, can, and then I'll go through and I'll do the what's missing, go to each individual student. After they tell me what's missing, I say, what's that word? They say can, and then they have this on the table right in front of them, and then they have their little marker in here. So after they tell me what letter is missing and they tell me the word, I tell them to write can, and while they are writing the word can, I'm moving on to the next student, and I'm saying, okay, what letter is missing? They'll tell me A. I'll say, what's the word? They'll say can. I tell them write can, and I move on to the next student. After they all write the word can, I ask them again, what's that word can? They erase it. They write a different word. So I would say, okay, write the word I. They'd erase it. They'd go back, write the word can, see if they can remember it, and then we could move into something like mix and fix. I'm pretty sure this process is a Jan Richardson process. These are all very common activities for guided reading for sight words. But like I said, again, it's very important to me to use that correspondence between the sound and the letter and not just memorizing them by sight. This really helps make it hands-on and kind of fun for them. So they'll pull down the letters for can. I make sure that they have the letters next to each other and they're not like, oops. Make sure they're not on the ground. Make sure they're all oriented the right way. And they'll say, what's that word? Can, and then we'll do the classic mix it, fix it. And I've swapped before whether I like writing first or doing the letters on the magnetic board first. It's probably easier for them to do this first, but I go back and forth. So anyways, that's a really simple sight word routine. I am going to be filming a video for you guys about just the way that I approach guided reading, how it looks at my table, and talking to you more about what's in my guided reading binder, which if you already have my guided reading kit on Teachers Pay Teachers, then you already know, but I feel like it's helpful to have that all in a little video for you. So if this is the future and you're watching this way in the future, you can click up here to watch the video, but most of you probably cannot click up there, so sorry. You'll just have to subscribe and turn your notifications on. It's 5:47, John and I are gonna work out. Don't really know what we're doing, but probably like a 25 or 30-minute workout. I'm still using the Beachbody workouts just because I like the variety. I think I want to try a new one that I haven't done before because I feel like the reason why I stopped working out is because I was getting kind of bored and also all my workout clothes were dirty. But we're gonna do 25 to 30-minute workout and then cook dinner. That was 9-week control week, day 1. I don't know if we're gonna stick with the program, but it was really hard. And we're doing the off the wall version because I don't have like a track or anything, so it's just like weights. It was only a kiss. I dumped all of the veggies and the chicken sausage on the broccoli pan just to put it in the oven and keep it warm while we showered, and it looks so good. Why does it never look like that much broccoli when it is? We should have made sweet potatoes with this. Okay, so we're gonna eat dinner, watch The Voice, and I'll see you in the morning. It is a beautiful day to show up at contract time. This morning for my coffee, I made white mocha and toffee nut. I really wanted to do that cinnamon one I shared with you in my last video. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna switch it up today because I really wanted white mocha. So that's what I made for my coffee. Lunch, I did have leftovers from last night, but I didn't want to eat those today. I wanted these. They are pepperoni bites with cauliflower crust, and I picked these up just honestly to see if they were good. I make homemade pizza rolls out of like wonton wrappers that are like not healthier, but like a less calorie dense version, because like healthy is, you know, whatever. These were actually pretty good last time. We have like a little toaster oven at school, and so I just put them in there. Oh, okay, this is so exciting. So Marisol sent us these things off of my Amazon wish list. I am pumped for these. I actually love teaching fact families with my kids, and just teaching all about the equal sign, and these are basically number family dry erase cards, and there's 12 of them, which is perfect because I have, I think, 10 or 11 first graders, so it's exactly how many I needed. They do have multiplication on the back. We're not going to use that, but you put the whole number at the top and then the 2 parts down here, and then they can write their fact families. And she also sent us this, which I have been wanting to use again for fluency, which I talked about in my last video. I'll link these on my Amazon for you guys under my mentioned list if you click the link in the description. And this is what it looks like, and I love these cards. They're so thought out because they have a little notch for your thumb so you can hold them easily. So the whole number is at the top, obviously, and then these are the 2 parts on a ring, but maybe not, I don't know. So this is what it looks like. We'll see. I'll let you know how it goes, but I am so excited. Thank you so much, Marisol, for sending this to us. I really appreciate it. Y'all, you're doing that on purpose. So I was just obviously kidding. The funny thing about the school that I'm at now is everyone is so nice about the vlog. I think I told you guys whenever I was like first moving into my room, people were telling me about it and like being just so nice about it and like about Instagram and all of that. And it's so night and day from like my last school where people were just so judgy about it. So it's nice to just be in like a much better environment. The other thing I want to show you guys, this is the tripod that I use to hold my phone, and I ordered a new one. This is like a better version of the one that I had before, so I'll link the new one for you in my Amazon, and it holds your phone like this, but it clamps onto a surface down here. And I ended up buying 2 because they're so cheap, and I want to leave one here at school so we can take like class pictures, and I can take pictures for like my Instagram. But this thing is so nice because it's super sturdy, bendable, flexible, sturdy. This is not an advertisement, and if it was, they probably wouldn't pay me because I'm doing such a poor job. But anyways, I love these things, and they're really great like if you wanted to film from above. So if you need like a little tripod, check the link in my Amazon. I feel like I'm always printing. I'm gonna print a couple of things and get my fine motor bins and everything ready for the day. I also need to oh shoot, I have to make our anchor chart for Stumpkin that we're reading today, so I will do that. It's the end of the day and we did it. We broke the Tuesday curse. Today was such a good day, and I honestly think this is the best day we've even had in centers. If you've seen my last like 2 vlogs, every Tuesday I always talk about what a poor job we do in center. One of the things that I am most excited for, I actually already showed you, and I got a chance to use it today. So we are starting subtraction in 1st grade, and to start subtraction we're doing -0 and minus all. So it would be 4 minus 0 or 4 minus 4. And let me see if I can find a card. These are the cards that I showed you this morning. After we did our subtraction lesson and just talked about what it was and making sure that they all understood the concept of subtraction, you have to start at ground zero. And of course, during the little mini lesson, they were like, 4 minus 0 equals 4. But you have to make sure they get it on the simple concepts so you can go to the trickier ones. So here is the little game that we played with these cards. So I had them in 2 lines, and I remember this game from my own childhood. I basically just copied it. And anyways, I had 2 lines of students. The person in the front of the line, it's their turn. So I held the card like this, and I said 5, and I would uncover one and say like 5 minus 5, and the first person to say 0, which is the answer, would stay at the front of the line. The other person just goes to the back. So then the next student, I would say 8 minus 0, and the first person to say 8 would get it. So I just gave them a second to look at the first number, because during our mini lesson I put a heavy emphasis on start with the first number when you were doing subtraction. So I gave them a second to process it, and I would say 8 minus 8, and then the first person to say it would get it. So I just pulled all of the cards that had 0 in the fact family, and we just did it with those. But I cannot wait to see how much this helps them with their fluency this year. I used to use cards that had the actual number sentence on it, but I like this a lot more. So thank you so much, Marisol, for these. I actually just made an Instagram post about it because I was so excited. I did want to briefly talk to you guys about what I did in guided reading. One of my groups, we're on L blends right now this week. That's what we're learning in first grade. So one of my groups was reading this little decodable reader by Wonders. I pulled them to my back table, and they were getting the blends and they were getting the endings on the words, but the thing that they were messing up with was the vowel in the middle. So they would say floss flops over, or they'd say floss flaps over. So of course, after reading, we did a mini lesson on that. And then my other group is still struggling with CVC words. So instead of reading the second decodable, we were reading the first one. Here's an example of what the book looks like. It's all short A words. We did a writing afterwards. And I'll give you an example of what it looks like. For my guided writing books, I just have these little, it's literally just copy paper. This cover is from Jen Jones, Hello Literacy. And on the inside, it literally is just a bunch of papers that I put into a little book. And I have this handy dandy little stamp. I think I showed it in my classroom haul. If you missed that, you can click up here. But it is a little stamp that has lines on it. So when you stamp it, it creates lines across. So I could, honestly, what I should have done instead of one big line is I should have made a line for every word, which again, that's why this is great. So next time I'll probably do that. So our sentence was, Pat taps a cat, and that came directly from the decodable. So first thing we do is count the words. Pat taps a cat. How many words? 4 words. What's the first word? Pat. Okay, get your mouth ready. Pat. P, capital letter, always first. Go through that whole process. So after Pat, we say Pat taps. Good. Capital letter, always first. Pat. And then this student needed help writing taps. So I just do a sound box there, and then they got it. Pat taps A, and then cat, they put CTA. So again, they needed help with the sound box, so I just put it down there. I always stamp their work so I know when it was. And this is a little bit discouraging to see at the beginning of first grade that some of my first graders can't write CVC words, especially because I have a kindergarten group who's kind of my high kindergarten group, but still, hopefully you can hear me when I talk in that direction. I'm sorry. I have a kindergarten group that I've been doing Switch It with, and I've talked about that before. It's basically where you give them the letters and you tap out a word, which actually I have whiteboards that I have not cleaned yet. So when we do Switch It in kindergarten, I actually give them magnetic letters. She says not to, because when you get to like digraphs, like TH, they want the students to see that as one sound. So I just put a little post-it note with the TH, and I will give them magnetic letters the rest of the time. So I give them all the letters they need to start, and then we say cat, for example. So we have them tap the sounds k, a, t, and then they put the letters that match. So they have all their letters up here that I gave them beforehand. So they only have a small set to choose from. So they make cat, and I say, okay, switch it, make sat, and they switch one box. At this one changes. They do a really good job with that. After I collected all the letters, I gave each one of them a different word. So I gave one of them sit, I gave one of them sap, and they were writing it. And I almost feel like that group is going to be with my first grade group from this year, because they're they're not too far off from each other. The first graders have a little bit more phonemic awareness, but it's just really shocking. And again, I'm a combo class, so I can move kids around however I need to, and that's okay. But I did just want to come on and kind of give you that example in case you're experiencing the same thing too, because we know with the pandemic, the past few years, it's been hard. And so I really don't expect them to be at the curriculum. I expect to have to go as slow as I need to with them. So we are doing grade level curriculum as a grade when we're doing whole group, but then for small groups, I differentiate it and kind of try to bring them back up. So that's what I'm experiencing. Let me know if you're seeing the same thing. If you teach first grade or even second grade, let me know how it's going. Oh, we read Stumpkin today. I did get the anchor chart. Well, I didn't finish it, but I finished it with them. This lamp and my fairy lights are on a smart plug, and so they turn off at a certain time. My wax warmer turned off too. I have such a high-tech classroom. We read Stumpkin today, so here is our anchor chart that we did. Here's the book, Stumpkin. And this book was actually donated to us by Karen at Terrific and TK. Yep, Terrific and TK. So if you're watching this, thank you so much, Karen. So every week I do a different read aloud, and I've talked about this in every video. We focus on one read aloud. So our read aloud this week is Stumpkin, and it is about a pumpkin who, instead of a stem, he just has a little stump. So today, before I even started the book, we talked about the title, and I think someone said, oh, pumpkin, because they saw the pumpkin, and I was like, say pumpkin. What's the first letter? P. Could this be the word pumpkin? No, it's Stumpkin or whatever. And I was like, why do you think it's called Stumpkin? And I had them talk about it, and they noticed he was missing his stem. This book was so entertaining for them. It starts off with the pumpkin being in the shop with all the other pumpkins, but he noticed something was different. He didn't have his stem. He's very sad. This is one of those books that's just really fun to read, and I can't wait till like Thursday or Friday when they're really reading it with me, because this one's going to be fun. He's the last one there with the gourd, but then even the gourd gets picked. And then the shopkeeper goes to pick him up, and I had them turn and talk and discuss what their prediction was. Where was he going to take him? And almost all of them said the trash can. And then it goes dark, and they were in awe. They were just like, oh. And then you see another eye. And they realized that he got turned into a jack-o'-lantern, but he wasn't in the window with his friend because he already had a home. Anyways, I know some of you watch and try to get ideas for your read alouds. Highly recommend Stumpkin. I also always try to make connections with my other books. So in the Koala Who Could, we talked a lot about character traits, and I always have them say character traits, and then I was like, I walked over here while I'm teaching. I teach from right here. My easel is normally here when I'm not talking to you. And I stepped back here and I said, how do you think Stumpkin is feeling at the beginning of the story? And they got the cue that I was over here, and they said, worried. And I said, yes, show me worried, because we have an action to go with a lot of the words that we use whenever we're doing read alouds. So they all showed me worried, and I just love it. You can do so much whenever you're doing your read aloud, and me sitting here telling you the things we're doing, I'm not even telling you half of it. After we did this together, I had them come up, in my focus, I'm sorry, I had them come up and retell the story one by one, and then tomorrow we're going to go through and we're going to go a little bit deeper into the read aloud, and I'll add sentences with it. I think I have talked way too much for today. Whatever else I need to tell you, I can tell you tomorrow. I'm going to go home, I'm going to work out, but I'll see you in the class tomorrow. I lied. I have one more thing I want to tell you. I had 2 students use their lunch bunch today, and each time you use a lunch bunch, you can pick 2 friends. So I had 6 students in here, and I am limiting it right now to 2 lunch bunches a day, just so we can all sit at this little back table. Oh, I forgot to take a selfie with them. I also always take a picture for lunch bunch, but I forgot today. We've already talked about this, but I create wallpapers every month, and so I change my lock screen every month. And my lock screen was this wallpaper, which I love and adore, and this might be my favorite wallpaper I've ever done. It's just so beautiful. And one of my students was like, why do you change your wallpaper every month? And I was like, because every month is a new month. She was like, I like it. I was like, you do? I made it. And they were like, you made it? And I said, yes. And they said, how'd you made it? And I said, I drew it on my iPad. And they said, show us. And I was like, okay. So I pulled out my iPad and I showed them all of the October wallpapers, and they said, make one right now. And I was like, okay, what should I make? And it was so cute. They were telling me as I was drawing what to draw. I will show you the time lapse of the wallpaper that I made today with them. They said I should draw a cat, and I was like, okay. And keep in mind, I'm drawing this while I'm holding it up like this. So I drew like a little cat, and they were like, add a heart, add a rainbow, make it sitting on a cloud, make it nighttime. I'll show you again. They were so entertained. So entertained. And they said, you have to make it your lock screen right now. So my lock screen is this little kitty. Kind of cute, not gonna lie. Kind of cute. Anyways, I wanted to include that in the vlog so I would have it as a little memory to look back on, because that's what these are for me too. I like to go back and watch and just remember things. So good morning. Today is Wednesday. I am in the best mood this morning. I think I feel really good coming off of how good our day went yesterday, and so I'm just really rooting for us today. And you know what? I was thinking about it last night, and I was like, what was the difference today? Or what was the difference? I was thinking about it last night. What was the difference that made Tuesday so much better than it has been? And honestly, I think it was the fact that they did not do a good job in centers on Monday. And I was like, you know, yesterday we didn't earn a smart cookie. What can we do to make sure that we earn it? And they were like really trying to do it, and their little jar is getting so full. So I think it'll be really easy to utilize that tool now and just say, your jar is so full, like let's get those cookies. So today is Wednesday. Every Wednesday, I don't know if you noticed, we wear these school spirit shirts. So today I just put it with this little, it's like a little skirt thing, but I don't know where I got it. I like this little tie, and it's like thick. I'm trying really hard to like put effort into my outfits this year and not, you know, be lazy. This is what I decided to bring for lunch today, an Uncrustable and a 1-Up bar. Honestly, it's not totally necessary for me to come on in the mornings and talk to you guys, because I just recap my entire day for you anyway, but I love coming on in the morning when I'm fresh and like say hi to you guys. So all I'm gonna do is literally get ready for my day. So double check my PowerPoint, probably look a little bit closer at my guided reading. In years past, I've been really good about planning, like full-on planning my guided reading groups, but I think this year, because everything is moving so slow and we're doing a lot of basic simple things like focusing on phonemic awareness and doing just this simple switch it activity, very simple things, I don't necessarily need to write out a full plan. I kind of just go with it. But yeah, so we'll see as things go. I'm just gonna double check what I need to do for today, and I need to make sure I have all my copies for writing that we're starting today. I'm so excited to start Writer's Workshop. It's gonna be the best. Okay, so probably a little montage coming up. Actually, really quickly, something I want to tell you, a little system that I use with my center tracker and just with like my day in general. I've shown my center tracker a million times, and it's also, I've got a post on my Instagram, a couple posts explaining it for you, but I color code it, and then I also have notes at the bottom, and I put notes in the color, how do I explain this? Every color has a day, so on Monday it's pink, Tuesday it's orange, Wednesday it's green, Thursday it's blue, and Friday it's purple. So it kind of goes in rainbow order. And then that way, anytime like I make a note, I can see what day it was without having to write Monday. So I know anything that I write in orange happened on Tuesday, anything I write in green happened on Wednesday. And it just is helpful to me to have like a color pen for the day that it is. And rainbow order makes the most sense to me because I can remember it. But yeah, that's a little thing I do. I don't know if it's useful to you or not, but okay. In just a sec. Okay, it's after school. First thing I want to do before I forget is I need to water some plants. I also need to like take off some of these dead. Oh, which by the way, if you are interested in keeping plants in your classroom, go to my Instagram, click this post. I recommend a bunch of different plants that pretty much anyone can keep alive. Some are easier than others, but this is a pothos. They're super easy. I keep it on this little shelf right here. I honestly need to repot it. So I'm just gonna bring my plants to the sink. See, this peace lily I have over here desperately needs to be repotted because I'm sure the root system is crazy and it literally drinks up all the water in 2 days and starts looking all sad. So it definitely needs to be repotted. Super easy to tell when your plants need to be watered. If they are super light, their soil is dry. This one, I'm a little embarrassed because it is, I could probably, look how sad that is. Don't do that to your plants. I've talked about it on here before. I do have an app, but when you're super busy, it is still hard to check. So got a lot of watering to do. And my fave, my Monstera, which actually it's pushing out new growth. And then also have my Peperomia, which usually this sits on my windowsill and like the little smiley face is facing the classroom and the back side is facing the window. But as you can tell, all of the growth is now coming out of the back because that is the side the window is on. So I'm actually gonna flip her around so she hopefully evens out. We'll see. But she has drainage here, so I can just leave her there. I just wanted to show you that. Keep my watering pot on the tippy top shelf where I can barely reach it. And I did get this from Amazon. And inside my pot, I just keep a little bit of fertilizer in this little dropper. And about 7 drops is normal and about 14 drops is actually fertilizing them, feeding them. So I think I'm gonna feed them today. So I'll add my drops. And then I will add some water and start watering. I actually think all of my classroom plants are doing super, super good. Even this little snake plant, which I keep there. I don't know if you can see some growth in there. Here. I did have a meeting after school, so it's like 3:30. I guess I can tell you about my day. Today, again, we read this story, talked more about the characters, character traits, and then we wrote a beginning, a middle, and an end together. Eventually, students will come up and help me, but for right now, I'm just showing them the process. So we talked about the beginning. I had a couple of different students tell me what happened in the beginning and then kind of summarized it together. So first I gave them the sentence. He was sad because he had no stem. Have them say it with me. He was sad because he had no stem. He was sad because he had no stem. Talk about capital letter always first. I have them help sound out all the words, word by word. If it's a sight word that first graders will know, I'll have them say that. Words like sad, CBC words. I've been stretching with my kindergartnens. We're using stories wherever we can, but we did all this together. Grateful was a really good one because I remember when we talked about the end of the story, one of my students actually said he was grateful, talked about what that word means, connections to their own lives, what are you grateful for, and then we wrote it. So with multi-syllable words like this, I'll have them clap the syllables with me. Grateful, what's the first part? Great, okay, get your mouth ready. Grr, let's do the sounds. Grr, a, t. And then we talk about the vowel. Is it saying it's short and lazy sound, or is it saying it's strong superhero sound? And then who do we need? Mommy, E. So after we write great, we add full. It's just kind of an overview of how I do it, but it's completely done with them and they help me sound out every piece of it. And then I have them practice reading it with me. And even my kindergartners, I'm just so proud of them. And I really do. I love teaching a combo class because some of the skills that I normally would focus on, of course, just in first grade, when the kindergartners are here with them in the read aloud, they'll pick up on some of those things. At the end of a sentence, I always say punctuation at the end because it goes in our Writing Superstar song. And even my kindergartners are saying it now. And they don't even know what punctuation is, but maybe they're learning it through the read aloud. So loving that. But I always have them come up and point. Little one, they'll practice one-to-one correspondence, and even my kindergartners are coming up here and they're pointing to each individual word. And if you teach kindergarten, you know this is a big deal. They're pointing. He was sad because he had no stem. Like they're not just sliding across, they're pointing to each word. So big win. They impress me so much. And I also have from her resource a beginning, middle, and end sheet that I can also give the first graders and then they can write it on their own. So there's all sorts of different ways to differentiate it as we go. Oh, we started Writer's Workshop. So I am doing a very simplified version of Writer's Workshop. It's not as structured as I've done it in previous years, and that is totally okay. I really just want them to have a good relationship with writing and sharing stories. Yesterday with first grade, we talked about non-realistic fiction, what it is. We talked about example stories, talked about what we'd see in non-realistic fiction stories, and I told the only guidance that I'm giving them, or I guess the only criteria that I'm giving them, is that it needs to be an October story. So we have our writing wall, which I've showed you, that has all those October words. I just brought it over to the carpet and I kind of modeled how to brainstorm a story, and I had them share some ideas for what my story could be. I'm using these planning pages from the Moffat Girls, and they have a whole writing curriculum that I have from kindergarten, but I like these planning pages. Actually, I did kind of like a hybrid. I don't know if you can tell, but I just like copied and pasted this in here to make it like what I wanted, but they have all these pages in there. So I showed them how I wanted to pick what I wanted to write about, and then I'm glad I remember this, I introduced them to a new secret. So some of my kids already knew AU, but when we were writing Haunted, AU came up and I was like, perfect time. So I taught them that AU and AW, when they sit next to each other, they have the biggest crush on each other. So anytime they're next to each other, they always say, "Aw," and we kind of walked over to the secret and they all did it with me. They said, "Aw," and then we went back over and I was like, okay, how do we spell the aw sound? And they said AU. So Haunted, for the ending, I have my endings card that I use with Rhyme Magic. Anyways, it's a very long process, but it helps them put it in their memory a little bit better. So Haunted House is what I was writing about, and I kind of talked to them about my story, and all that I wanted them to do today was just pick what they wanted to write about. And again, they had that October word wall to choose from. This student is going to be writing about a cat that does something. This student is going to be writing about pumpkins that do something. This student is going to be writing about a skeleton, and I think his story was it was a skeleton, but he's holding another skeleton's arm and he's going to try to get a cat. I don't know, very interesting. Tomorrow we're going to work on drawing the beginning, the middle, and the end. This will probably take us this week and then through next week, because I'm gonna have them do a full story. Then we're gonna go back and edit and add details and do just a full writing production. So kindergarten, it was the first day of Writer's Workshop. I'm calling it Writer's Workshop, but it's very loosely. So we are also talking about non-realistic fiction, except for kindergarten, we are going to be working on a Wordless book. So the story that I chose to share with them today was Mr. Waffles, and I was debating on the story that I wanted to use because I have so many good ones, but I thought this would be the perfect one because I feel like it's the best example of non-realistic fiction. So it starts off with Mr. Waffles, and again, I'm just going to give you a flip through. Fast forward if you don't care about Mr. Waffles, but it's one of my favorite wordless picture books. So before we even get to the title page, it says, "Look, Mr. Waffles, a new toy," and he tosses the fish. Mr. Waffles is not interested. He walks away, and his owner says, "Oh, Mr. Waffles," and then we get to the title page. So I'm just going to give you a little flip through. And with my kindergartners, we did talk about how these are separate pictures. We talked about how this is like a zoomed in picture, and I had them look super closely with me. I put it under the dot cam so they could see, but they noticed the spaceship, the little window, the aliens peeking out of the window, and then you can see the progression. They notice the cat's eyes looking in at the spaceship, and then something happens, and you can see the cat playing with the spaceship, and the aliens are getting all tossed around. And then Mr. Waffles takes a little break. He got tired. So they're coming up with a plan, looking out the window. Here they go. They're sneaking away, and they've got this box with them. Mr. Waffles sees them. He tries to chase them, and he gets distracted by this little ladybug. I don't know if you can see the little ladybug right up there. And so they make a run for it. They end up under a cabinet. They meet these bugs. They come up with a plan together, and Mr. Waffles' owner shows up. He's like, "Mr. Waffles, what's so interesting?" And it zooms back into what they're doing, and they noticed all the different objects. They could see that they were fixing and building, and then they make a run for it. So they're running, but I had them look really, really close, and they noticed one of the aliens was on this little ladybug. And if you remember at the beginning of the book, Mr. Waffles got distracted by the ladybug. So he's kind of leading Mr. Waffles away, and they're running with the box back to their spaceship. Mr. Waffles doesn't know what to do. Should he look at the ladybug? Should he look at the aliens? He's not sure. And long story short, the aliens get away. And then his owner shows up, and I thought this part was really funny. "Hey, Mr. Waffles, blast off!" And he has a little spaceship toy, and Mr. Waffles is not interested. Wordless picture books are really, really fun to read with my kids, I feel like, because they can help me tell the story as we go. So I am sure to point out certain details that I know are going to be important later on, but I really, for the most part, have them tell the story with me. And it just also reinforces that reading pictures is reading, as the lovely Jen Jones says. So this has been in our library. I've seen them looking at it before. They really like this one, but I think now that we've talked through the story together, it'll be a little bit more fun to them. I'm doing really simple math lessons with kinder and first grade. We did the little 3-corner cards for first grade again to help with fluency. We did more subtraction work. Mini lesson, they had whiteboards. We were just working on the concept of subtraction, and that you always start with the first number and the number always gets smaller when you subtract. And we did these cards again. These are the ones that I pulled out, and we focused more on subtracting 1, and I kind of did a little flippity floppity, and I did 2 lines again, and we started with just taking away 1, and we focused on, we also used the number line, and we talked about taking away 1 means we jump back 1 time, we count back 1 time, so 6, 5, 9, 8, 7, 6, 2, 1, 3, 2, and just practicing that. So we first played our game, which I'm calling Think Fast. I had them in 2 lines. I either did 4 plus 1, or I would do 5 minus 1. So still working with the plus 1 or minus 1, and I had to have them think on the spot, and just, I feel like that really helped nail home the idea that subtraction is take away, and addition is the number gets bigger, subtraction is the number gets smaller, and it helped. So one of mine struggled with it, but the rest of them did a really good job. So I would either do 5 plus 1, and they'd say 6, or I would do 6 minus 1. So they really, really had to pay attention. And I also like these cards because this is a 1 family, and then this is a 1 family, so I only had to pull these cards, even though the deck comes with a ton of cards. And if you're interested, our lesson today in kindergarten for math was 1-to-1 counting and being able to write the written number to represent a quantity. So I gave them those counting bears. I gave them some each, and I had them separate into the 4 corners. So green would be here, red would be here, blue would be here, yellow would be here, and I had them write the number that it represented, so they each had a different amount of the counting bears. So if they had 3 yellow bears, they would put a 3. If they had 6 red bears, they'd put a 6, and they'd go all the way down. And I did have a couple of friends, actually like 50% of them, who were like, oh, I'm not sure how to write this number. So I showed them, where can you look in our classroom if you're not sure? The number line. So we would count every time they asked me. We would count together, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's a 4, and have them write it. And then after they did their own, I said, okay, erase your numbers. And we played around the world. So they stood up. We were sitting kind of like in a circle U shape, so they stood up and they moved to the next board, and then they counted that person's bears, and then when we were all done, they stood up and they moved to the next board and they counted that person's bears. And yeah, that was our little game that I made up on the spot called Around the World. Yeah, that was our day. I did have a meeting after school, and it is now 3:45, so I am ready to go home. It was a really good day. They did awesome in setters. I'm proud of them. We did have a little moment after lunch where I kind of had to stop and give them like a talk about how to act in the carpet, because they had just came in from recess, and they were acting crazy and they were being disrespectful, and we had a conversation about that, and they were great for the rest of the day. So, you know, you can't expect your kids to be perfect, but I'm really proud of them. Oh, and I'm gonna make some pumpkin cake pops. So next time you see me, we're gonna be baking. All right, we're in my kitchen. It's actually pretty late. It is almost 7 p.m. We've worked out. We actually haven't eaten dinner yet, but I am currently baking cake. Actually, I've already baked 1 cake because I'm going to make 2 cakes because I want there to be enough cake pops for people. The other thing I'm doing is planning for next week. So again, these are my plans for this week, and I always copy and paste my plans into the next week. That way it's easier for me to just adjust when I need to adjust. What I love to do is look back on my month, and this is not as planned out as this usually is for me. This is really my like main monthly dashboard. And so what I did was, like, for each week, I will just copy the section here that I've already planned out, and I will put it in here, and then I can plug in things as I need to. So whenever I'm planning on this page, this is going to be for next week, I can just go back and look at what I need to look at, or go back here and look at what I need to look at. And yeah, doing it kind of like this helps me plan a little bit better. So I don't use this as much. This is just easier because it's kind of like a little list of things that I want to do. So I could take it, plug it in to a day if I wanted to, and then I could just fill it in here. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I've just made a vanilla cake and I'm letting it cool with foil on it right now just for like 10 minutes. I still want it to be warm whenever I crumble it up. But the trick to cake pops is I'm using a box mix because who's gonna make cake pops from scratch? Not me. The trick is you add your water, you skip your oil, then you add your eggs, and you only add a little bit of frosting, and you crumble it when it's hot. So that's what I'm gonna do. So it's gonna cool for another 5 minutes. I'm gonna throw it back in the mixer with the paddle attachment, let it get all crumbly, add just a little bit of frosting. You won't need a lot, just a little bit of frosting, and then I'm gonna roll it into balls and show you the rest of that process. But I wanted to share that because when I was in college, I Pinterested the heck out of cake pops, and I made super cute ones, by the way. I'm going simple today, just doing little pumpkin ones, but not even with pumpkin cake mix. I'm doing vanilla and I'm doing butter pecan. Good morning, happy Thursday. Here are the cutie little pumpkin cake pops. They came out absolutely adorable. These are butter pecan with a little bit of cream cheese frosting. These are just vanilla. This one's a little lumpy, but that's okay because pumpkins are not perfect. Anyways, I'm really excited. I'm gonna go put these in the staff little room thing. I do not have really anything to do this morning, so I'm just gonna chill and relax, and I will talk to you after school. My outfit today is so basic, but it's one of those outfits that's just like, I just feel like myself in it, you know? This cardigan I got, I don't know, from like TJ Maxx or something probably, an old Target shirt, and like these J. Crew pants. But I don't know, something about this just makes me feel like myself. Like I just feel so comfy. I made an iced coffee this morning, and I'm realizing that I'm not, like I like iced coffee. I love it in summer, but it's one of those things that's like, if I am trying to get out the door in the morning, it's so fast because all you do is make the espresso and then just pour the milk in and you have an iced latte. So that's what I did. It's peppermint white mocha. It's dark because when I'm not vlogging with you guys, I do like to sit in here in the dark in the morning. So I want to show you the wax warmer and taking it out and how easy it is. Here's a little silicone thing that comes out, and you can just push it up and it comes out just like that. So I'm a big fan of this wax warmer. I'm going to change the scent. Even though this one still smells fine, I might save it, but I want something different today. So also, I know I'm still sitting in the dark. Let's just make it a mood. But I opened up my backpack to get my lunch out, and I remembered that I got this wonderful package last night from, is it Janaea? I'm not sure how to say your name. But if this is you, thank you, Janaea. I hope you're watching. I was so excited when I opened this because this is the book that I'm going to be reading next week with my kids. It's the cutest little vampire teeth story, and then Bonaparte Falls Apart. I've heard really good things about this one too. I think it'll be really fun. So these are perfect, and they came just in time. So thank you so much. I think your name is Janaea. If I'm saying it wrong, let me know so I can fix it. But thank you, thank you, thank you. After school, on Thursday, our day started off so well, and then it was like, here's a new angle for us with actually decent lighting. We read Stumpkin again today, and like I said, each time we read the book, we focus on something a little bit different. And since we're starting Writer's Workshop, we focused on talking about the job of the illustrator and the author in this book. And so really I was focusing more on Illustrator because for the most part they're going to be illustrating their stories. So we talked a lot about the illustrator's choices, talked about the expressions, talked about characters again, talked about characters move, feel, and talk. So anything can be a character if it moves, feels, or talks in a story. And then a couple of pages where the author says something and then the illustrator tells us a little bit more. This pumpkin right here that has the cat sitting on him because he is smooth and flat because he does not have a stem, and so we know that this is Stumpkin right here. So the author said, then it happened, a brilliant baby chose Stumpkin until a bad dog ruined it. And then we look closely at this picture, we can see the dog is barking, and we can see that the cat got scared away. So that's not something that the author told us, that's something that the illustrator was telling us through the pictures. So we talked about that. This whole part that I showed you yesterday where it turns to black, and then one eye appears and the other eye appears, and I said to them, I was like, these are just triangles, but how do you know it's a jack-o'-lantern? And we talked about how they used what they knew already, their schema, what's in their brain. We talked about how they used what they knew to figure out what the illustrator was showing us here. And then on this page, it looks like a cityscape from far away, but if you look closely in the bottom corner, I don't know if you can see, there is Stumpkin with all the children around him. So I asked them, what do you think that is, the shop? Talked about looking closely at the picture, and then you can see on the last page, Stumpkin and all the children. So we just talked about the job of an author and an illustrator. That was really helpful. And then for our actual Writer's Workshop, I had a couple of first graders absent today, so I was actually able to pull them all to my back table. I just had them work on illustrating their first, next, and last, and then down here we just wrote first, next, and last, so that whenever we go to write our sentences, that's where they start. This one is about a cat going to a haunted house, getting candy, very similar to mine, that's okay, and then getting scared by a ghost. This one is about a cat who gets candy, and then goes into a haunted house, and then I think gets scared by a skeleton. A couple of them kind of used my framework, which it's totally okay for the first one. I can understand exactly why, because I had this happen in kindergarten too. They want to kind of model after you and create a story that's like yours because they're not super comfortable, you know, pushing their own boundaries yet. They're not comfortable with their own ideas and haven't really they don't really have the confidence to come up with something different. So doing something that the teacher is doing is what's comfortable for them. So a lot of them do have some of their characters getting candy in the middle of their story, but that's okay. Kindergarten, their planning page looks a little different. So here's mine. So I showed that in our writing center, the October words. So the October words, they're down here too. I pulled that over and I picked a character. So I decided to pick the candy corn as my character, and we know that characters can be anything that moves, feels, or talks, so I picked candy corn. And so the first thing I did was I drew my little candy corn, and I gave him eyes, and I gave him legs, and I said, oh, what should my candy corn do? And we talked about a story together. So I drew my candy corn walking on a path at nighttime. I said, what should happen to my candy corn? And they said he should get scared by a ghost. So I drew a ghost, and I kind of drew him running away. And then again, I had them walk me through a story. What should happen next if he sees a ghost and they get surprised and they get really scared? And someone said they should be friends, and I said, oh, that's a great idea. So in the end, I drew them together with smiling faces and a little heart just to show that they were friends. Here's my little example, and I was very explicit that each box is going to have our character doing something or feeling something. So then for my kindergartners, and this was kind of a long process, and it's hard because I can't really like split them up at this point. We all just kind of had to get started together in the same page. So I had that October word wall displayed for them, and I had each of them start by just picking a character, and I have a separate sheet here that I wrote down the character they picked. So one chose an owl, another chose a witch, another chose a spider, a bat, a web. They basically picked everything on there, and then a couple of girls chose a cat. So they all chose different characters to start, and then all we did today was we drew the beginning of our story. So I said, what do you want your character to do first? And I had them draw their character, and then I had them draw what their character was doing. So very, very slow. So first thing, pick a character. I wrote down the character they picked. Second thing, draw your character. And this stopped them up because they were like, I don't know how to draw. Do the best you can. Third thing, after they draw their character, everyone drew their character. We talked about what their character would be doing. I asked every single one of them, what's your character going to be doing? And then they drew that, and I wrote that down as well. So this student, their cat is walking to another cat. This student, their ghost is going trick-or-treating. There's spiders. He started drawing here, but that's okay. And his spiders were going up a wall, and I think he said he wanted to scare somebody. Owl walking up a hill. That is super cute. So you can see that they all just drew the first part of their story, just a quick little sketch. And I just want to get them comfortable with putting their ideas on paper. And this is not the most efficient way to do this, but I also, at the same time, I have the kindergartners here on the carpet with me. First graders are in the library, so there's only so much I can do in terms of like flexibility in my classroom and my groups. So right now, this is what we're having to do, and that's okay. They're still super, super excited about it. I think it's just hard for me because I like Writer's Workshop to be more of a writer's workshop instead of just like, you know, doing everything together, but we're getting there. So this is what we did for Stumpkin. It looks like this. It's a little pumpkin with a little stump, and they put the pictures in order. And tomorrow we will be writing and putting it on paper, and these are actually going to go where the last leaf was, so I should take those down. Pumpkins are going to go up, and they're going to be up all October. Why is my computer always far away from where I need? I think that came out cute. My entire class didn't do one. I had some kids who were absent on that Friday. Bummer. It's cute. I just love their drawings. Okay, so I'm thinking, should I do bats? I don't know. I'm just gonna be doing some housekeeping stuff. So I'm gonna put on music and I'm gonna put you on a time lapse. And I know that I need to do it today because I will be so mad at myself if I stay Friday. So we're gonna do it now. So what I'm doing right now is just going through their center folders, and this is the work that they do independently while I'm pulling small groups, and I'm filing this away in my little mailbox system that I have so that on Fridays I can just take all of the work that they've done and put it in their bee binders. And if there's any work that I want to snapshot and put in their Class Dojo portfolios, that's what I'm doing. Workout's done. I'm a mess. It was cardio today. Didn't want to do it, but we did it anyway, and it was only like 25 minutes, so there's that. So I filmed it on my iPhone, so I hope the footage was okay. Here's what the Trader Joe's looks like. Here's what ours looks like. Actually looks super tasty. This is one of my new favorite things to get from Trader Joe's. Love, love, love it. It's Friday. This morning I made an iced caramel latte with vanilla sweet cream cold foam. So it's literally just like milk and cream and vanilla, and you use your frother and you just froth it up till it's super thick. So that's what's bringing me joy this morning. I'm here pretty early. I want to make an October door coloring page. Oh, also, okay, this brings me joy. This brings me joy. Sorry, I was just kind of lost in thought because my year this year is one of the best years that I've had. And, you know, I go back and forth with behavior in my classroom and all of that. But there are so many teachers who I know personally who are struggling or going through things. And it's all over the country. It's hard for me to, like, start my morning and like talk to my friends and hear all the things they're struggling with and then come back into my classroom and then just be like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I'm someone who like really takes on the feelings of other people, and like some of these things that my friends are experiencing at their schools like really gets to me. It makes me so frustrated, so angry. Yeah, I'm just kind of processing all of that right now, and it's hard because especially if you watch teacher tubers or you follow people on Instagram, we can't voice a lot of the problems that are in the education world. Like, we can't voice those things because we will get fired. So it's just hard to hear other people going through those things. Anyways, on a lighter note, I am very excited because Lindsay sent us The Bad Seed. And I absolutely love reading this book. And this is the original book in this, not series, but in this collection that started The Bad Seed, The Good Egg, The Couch Potato, The Cool Bean, The Smart Cookie is coming out, and I am so excited. But this is the original one, and Lindsay sent this to us. So thank you if you're watching, Lindsay. I'm not sure if you follow me here on Instagram, but thank you so much. I have read this book every year, but I have never owned it. Ever. I had to either borrow it or watch it on YouTube, and I'm so glad to finally have this book. This one I really like to read, when is it? Usually like in May-ish, whenever we do like our sunflowers, whenever we grow our sunflowers again. But I am so glad to finally have this in my hands. Like, it feels so good. And I might read it sooner, kids, if we have extra time, because I know they love this author now. But I'm just glad to finally have it. So thank you so much, Lindsay. Just the thing I needed to snap me out of it. Okay, so I was trying to scroll on Pinterest for ideas, and I didn't find anything that I really liked, because no one has like what I'm envisioning. Like, it's all just like door decorations that people make with butcher paper. But I think the phrase that I want to go with is, we are one spooktacular class, or our class is fabulous. They're at recess. I wanted to show you this setup for these bats that we are going to make today. So I just have a coffee filter that I colored with black, blue, and purple. It is displayed on the board, and I went ahead and put out some coffee filters and the color markers that I want them to use on their little tables. And then over here I just have placemats, so when they're done I'll bring it over here, or they'll bring it over here, and then we'll spray it with water, and then hopefully they'll dry later today and we can make cute little bats to go up here. Hello, happy Friday again. I think I already said that. I don't know, it's after school, way after school, like an hour after school, but today was a good day. It was a Friday. I was gonna say it was a little crazy, but you know, it's a Friday, so just is what it is, but it was fun. So we finished up Stumpkin. My turn? Your turn. Stumpkin. It was a few days before Halloween. Outside in a little shop in a big city, a shopkeeper placed some pumpkins on the shelves. A girl came and looked at the pumpkins. Triangle eyes, a nose, and a giant toothy smile. Were thrilled for their friend, and thrilled that they too might one day be jack-o'-lanterns. Yay. Poor little pumpkin, poor little stemless pumpkin with just a stump, not a stem. Poor little Stumpkin. And that made Stumpkin very, very happy. Also, I remember showing you, I guess maybe yesterday, the day before, and my kids have not stopped reading it since I read it with them. And this cover I taped on because it doesn't have the title on it, which is a bummer. And they've been reading it so much that the tape from the cover came off, so I have to fix that. But they really, really love that book. But we finished our little Stumpkin. I really love using these as classroom decor because it's something that shows they're learning, but also it's cute, you know? So we're gonna have pumpkins up all October. So for the kindergartners, I wrote on their little response sheet, my pumpkin, and then I put a line, projected it on the board, and I used our little iWords card. So this was projected on the board, so this was obviously blown up on my whiteboard, and I put the iWords card right on top of the line so it fit because it was big. And we went over it. It's one of our sight words, and all I had them write was is. That's it. I just wanted to get them practicing because very slowly they're gonna start to add in all their little sight words that they know. So my pumpkin is, and then I had them go draw a pumpkin, their perfect pumpkin. Right before I gave them their paper, this bottom part, I said, what is your perfect pumpkin? And then after they told me, they could go and draw it. And so this perfect pumpkin, student's perfect pumpkin is finding an animal to be a friend with. That is their perfect pumpkin. This kindergartner's perfect pumpkin is going trick-or-treating. So you can see their little pumpkin going trick-or-treating. This kindergartner's perfect pumpkin is a witch holding a pumpkin. That's okay. This one's perfect pumpkin is happy he gets to play. So usually when the kindergartners are doing this, I work with the first graders and start the writing with them, or kind of give them a little bit of a head start, and my aide will go around and kind of work with the kindergartners, or not work with them, but just kind of talk to them about what they're coloring, and she will go ahead and write on here, which is very helpful because then we know what it is, especially days later, or if their parents see it, they know what it is. So I always write on there, or have her write on there, what the kindergartners draw. And then for first grade, we talked about Stumpkin's character traits and that he was happy because he had a home. So they wrote he was happy because he had a home, and we did this writing totally together. I want to print off Jen Jones' because poster. Here's what it looks like, because, and do it up there so they don't ask me how to spell it, but it's a really important word and I want to have it up, and I like the poster that she has, so I'll do that. But sometimes with my first graders, I'll let them decide what to write. Sometimes it'll be kind of like a shared writing. So they wrote he was happy because he had a home, and really they could spell all of this except for because. That was the only thing that I gave them. So we know that happy, we start the first sounds and then the rhyme is ap, and the ending is Y, which makes the E sound. And we know before we put the ending, we need to double the letter. All that is part of rhyme magic that I do with them. So they know how to do that. A couple of them I did have at my small group table back here, and I was having to like go step by step with them, and that is okay. And the more I talk to people, even in my school, we're all like experiencing the same thing. So I'm going slow, but I'm really proud of how much their writing has grown even in the short time that we've been in school. Like, this is so impressive. I actually want to look back at like the first thing we did, because I'm impressed. I'm really proud of them. So yeah, I'm gonna hang these pumpkins up on this one, and we do have our directed drawings over here. I have to show you the cutest little craft that I wanted to do. So we had coffee filter leaves up with our September art. We made the cutest little coffee filter bats. Are these not stinking adorable? Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. I looked for inspiration, and honestly, I didn't find anything that like I really wanted to do, so I just did these. Some people will use like a clip, like for a butterfly, they'll use like a clip. I didn't want to use a clothespin because I didn't want to paint it, and yeah, I just didn't want it to look like a butterfly. So I just drew a little bat face and I cut it out and did that. You could have them draw it too, but it was like a last minute idea that I had. I was like, oh wait, I can do this. Anyways, they colored their coffee filter, sprayed them all, and then I just had them cut out this little bat face. I rolled up their coffee filter. I don't know whose this is because they said they all made their bats. I don't know. I did put their little numbers on the back. I just fan folded these like this. And then I just snipped, obviously a circle, so there's some shorter pieces, but I just snipped like a U shape at the top, They loved these. They really wanted to take them home. And I feel kind of bad because they're going to be up all October. While I'm gone, I might let them make some more. I'll ask my aide if she will do it with them, because I don't want to just tell the sub to do that because it's kind of a lot. I'll ask my aide if she wants to, because I know they really want to take some home, and I feel bad that I'm just going to keep them, but they're cute as heck. I don't feel that bad because they're adorable. So then you have this little piece, and then I gave them just a little pipe cleaner, just this much. And then for my kindergartners, I pinched it for them and had them wrap it around. The first graders could just do it themselves. And then I just had them wrap it around. I put hot glue and stuck the bat on, let it dry, and I also fanned out the wings. That was the little bat craft, and they loved it. They were obsessed. They're adorable. They're gonna look so cute up there too. I think every month I might try to do a little coffee filter art because they're fascinated by it. Fascinated. Whenever I spray it, they're like, oh, wow, look at all the colors. I also had 2 kids have accidents today, and I'm just telling you that. So in case you are someone who is wanting to be a kindergarten teacher, that is something that happens. I had 2 kids have accidents today. Very, very small issue. And then, at the end of the day, we watched Aide Twist Scientist on Netflix. They have a new Netflix series. My kids were fascinated. They loved it. The animation is wonderful. The just storytelling is really great. So if you've read Aide Twist Scientist with your kids, they would love it. We haven't read it yet, but they still loved it. I think some of the first graders know the story. And while they did that, I just put their work in their bee binders and had them pack up. We also did coupons at the end of the day. I keep my coupons in actually this little jewelry holder from Michael's. I have a full video on Class Dojo when I talk about how I use coupons in my classroom, but this is from Michael's. And the coupons we have currently: Sticker Picker, Me versus My Teacher, Sweet Tooth, Line Leader, Take a Selfie, which is where I take a selfie with them and I print it and bring it to them. That's like their favorite. Magic Marker, they can use a scented marker all day. Lunch Bunch, this is the most popular one. Pay It Forward, give everyone 5 points. I just added that one today. Music Master, I can request a song. Desk Buddy, I can have a desk buddy all day, so like a little stuffed animal from my library, or they can bring them from home. Show Off, I can bring something to show to the class. Pajama Party, I can wear pajamas to school with my class. So those are the coupons I have in here currently. I have a bunch of different options. They are in my TPT store if you want some coupons. But yeah, and they have like these cute little faded pictures in the background. But yeah, so this is the first week that they've had all of these choices. I introduce it pretty slow. I start with like 4, then add a couple more, then add a couple more. But they had a lot to choose from today, and they were really excited about that. I feel like I've been at that little area the whole time. For writing today, my kindergartners did finish the middle and the end of their story. And once again, I wrote it all down because I did not want to forget their story. And you always feel bad whenever a kindergartner draws something and then you have to say, what is it? You don't ever want them to feel like that. So I wrote it all down so I could very confidently remember what they wrote about. I wish I could remember 100 stories, but I cannot at this point. Anyways, they finished their beginning, middle, and end, and I had them make a problem in the middle, so they all drew a problem. Most of them all drew a problem. Some of them drew just another nice thing that happened. That's just how it works. This student has trouble drawing, and so what I like to do, I'll put a picture, is I'll take a whiteboard or a post-it note and I'll go right next to them and step by step go through how to draw simple things. Like they wanted to learn how to draw a monster, so I did that with them. But these are our rough drafts for our story, and I know it doesn't look like much, but stay tuned. We're going to turn it into a book, add more details, so you will see all of that in the next vlog. And first graders, we started writing a sentence. Here's my story. We have already written down, here's my story, and then my sentence was, first the cat went in the haunted house. Very simple. I had them help me. 3 of mine can do it pretty independently, and then the rest of them I just was going through and was helping. I would have given them a different paper if I had remembered to print it, but I didn't. So we used this paper, which is okay, but it just isn't the paper that I wanted to use for this, you know, because they have to write so big because of these lines. First, the skeleton told the cat to come here. First, the cat went in the haunted house. So this is like pretty much mine, but she wrote it totally by herself. So one of my first graders, she just kept on going, which is great, totally fine. She said, first the cat find candy. Next, the cat went in the haunted house. Last, the cat got maybe scared from a skeleton. I'm not sure. With students like that who have just the basic conventions down, her story is going to be a little bit more elaborate, and with her I would probably give her extra pages so she could write a little bit more. So instead of first, next, last 3 pages, she might have like 5 pages, and she could separate her story a little bit more. I also love writing for that reason because it is so flexible. It's one of those things that you can very naturally differentiate for your kids. So that is our starting point. I remember one of my kindergartners today, well, when we were all working on the carpet doing this, he was finishing his story, just his wordless picture story, and he was like, this is the best day ever, and it just made me so happy. It was a really fun day today in first kindergarten. So for our door coloring page, you saw me doing that this morning, and I had them color. I let them choose if they wanted to use crayons or markers, and they colored it, and then they also glued it. For the stars, I had them paint glue, and for the letters, I had a couple of first graders outline the letters. Let me show you how cute the door is. It is stinking adorable. And with the door, I never make it something that they have to do. I always call them over, ask them what they want to color, and then whenever they are done, they can go. If they don't want to color the whole thing, they don't have to. If I have friends who want to color more, they totally can. So it's just something that's totally their choice, but they love it. These are our little Stumpkins. They're so cute. Adorable. This vlog is so long. I'm sorry, I just can't shut up. I'm working on planning the rest of the week. I got most of it done, but here's what I was thinking. And after lunch, we finish centers, and then first graders do math centers, which is basically like independent math. So I try to give them like some kind of written work first, and then when they're done, go to math center, so it's not as crazy anymore, which I've been doing some days I haven't been, but and then I do math on the carpet with kinder. But right now we are just like reinforcing those basic number concepts. So like numbers 1 through 10, counting on what comes next. So since we're still working on this skill and it's not me teaching necessarily anything new, we're just doing like one more comparing numbers. I want to take half of my kindergartners at my back table for math. Because they really are in like 2 groups. The ones who really struggle with their numbers and the ones who are getting it. I would love to give them some simple math centers, basically just like rolling dice, counting, drawing this, just very simple math games, hands-on manipulatives. Like 6 kindergartners on my carpet doing that. Or not even my carpet. I should actually put them at the table so they don't feel like so they can play less, if you know what I mean. Because usually if they're on the carpet, they're like, oh, we're just going to play and do this. But if they're like right behind me on these tables right here, I think they would actually work pretty hard. I think I'll do that. I'll give them something to work on back here and then pull them to my table. I have like candy corn stuff up. Pull 6 of them to my table and try to do literally a 10-minute mini group with each of them. That's what I'm going to try to do next week. Granted, I'm going to be out on Tuesday, but I just wanted to share my thoughts with you. This combo class thing really isn't that bad. It's just certain times of the day I have to really be creative with what I do. I did want to show you, because I don't think I showed you, some writing that my first graders did in small group with me this week. Did use my little line stamp to do this, and we wrote yesterday, and we did the sentence, what are you playing with? So what is a sight word, are is a sight word, you is a sight word, play has an L blend and an ending, and with has that TH sound. And then we did punctuation with question mark. This is how they did. So capital letter always first, and we always sing our Writing Superstar song before we do any writing. They love it. So I did put the lines on their paper, and I would say it. So I would say, what are you playing with, as I did the lines, and then I had them tap it. And they did it. And I always have them use pen, because if we make a mistake, I can see it. So like this student, I think she put a period first, and then she tried to make it into a question mark, and it didn't work. So she just hugged it at the end right here. It looks like she tried to make period. But we always hug our mistakes. I'll see if I can find one where she actually, like on this one, she did a capital H, and then she just hugged it and fixed it. So that's good, because it tells me a lot. Because a lot of times if you're writing with kids and you use pencil and you want to erase it and have them fix it, it goes home, or you look at it later and it looks like they just did it, and you can't really see the progression of their learning. So hugging mistakes is my favorite thing. I know I can't shut up. This vlog is so long. I just feel like I have so much to share with you. My big goal is I want you to get value out of these vlogs, and if you're going to sit here with me for an hour, I want to show you like the strategies I'm using and the things that I'm sharing. So if it's helpful, please, please, please let me know in the comments. And I'm just going through one of our Wonders decodable books, and this is pretty much what I'm using right now for guided reading. It has the blends, everything we need, so we're just reading a different story 1 or 2 days a week. So I'm just going through. I'm probably going to take this guided reading binder home to go home and really just plan all my groups, because now they're starting to separate. So I need to do that, and I need to stop filming. It's 5:40. I really do need to go home, but when I'm on a roll, I just have to go with it. So I have a couple of gaps. I used my yellow highlighter so that I would see it immediately and know to plan for it, and I still have to finish planning for my sub. What I was looking at was sight words for first grade next week, and then sight words for kindergarten, because so far we have done I, is, and can. And so I put all of our sight words into here. So I do the first grade sight words in the back of my planner, and I just exit across whenever we're done with it, and so I can see where we are. So we're on Unit 1, Week 4, if you're curious. In, what is it? It's October 8th, and we just finished that. Or we're starting that next week. So in case you're curious, that's where I am. And then on the other side of my planner, the kinder side. So at the top up here, I have letters that we're going to learn next in this order. This is the benchmark order that I'm using. I'm really liking it so far, actually. And as we go, I'm kind of seeing what sight words we can make, because like I've been saying relentlessly, I am mapping our sight words so that I'm not just like doing things that are way above their head. And I really like the way I've been doing it. I'm using my iWords cards with them too, and they're getting it. So this is what I'm doing. I'm not teaching them words like, we, see, and I'm not throwing any extra words in there. And I also know with kindergarten, a lot of times the curriculum with the sight words moves so fast. And the reason it moves so fast is because it's counting on exposure to teach them those words. So it's counting on the fact that they will be exposed to them like 200 times or whatever the number is for them to get it versus actually mapping it in their brains and connecting the sounds with those letters. This is the way that I'm doing it. I'm really pleased with the progress they've made so far. So I think we're going to do A next week. I didn't do A to start whenever we did A because we were just getting started, but I'm going to do that one next week. It'll be a very easy one. And then 2 is the one I'm going to do next week as well. Over here, I just put all the letters we've learned so far in kindergarten. These are the ones for next week, H and B. And then we've also learned sh and we learned the sound in small groups, and my first graders taught them the SH secret from Secret Stories because it came up in something we were writing, and my first graders taught them, and I thought that was precious. So yeah, I'm going to really stop talking this time. So it's a Friday night. I'm going to go home. I'm going to chill on my couch, hang out with my husband. I'm so glad we're on the same work schedule finally, which means we get the whole weekend to ourselves, which for me, it's going to be deep cleaning my house and planning, but I'm sure we'll relax somewhere in there. So I'm going to close the vlog out here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, truly appreciate it. I try to get back to every single comment. If you need something else, please DM me over on Instagram. You can always reach me at calltheteacher@gmail.com. Make sure you like this video so more teachers can see it, and make sure you're subscribed so you can be part of our family. Let me know what you want to see in the next video, and I will see you in the next one. I forgot to